Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and today I wanted to film a video called my favorite TV shows that I watched in 2019 because in 2019 I watched a lot of TV shows, like probably way too many. And so I thought it would be fitting to make a list of some of my favorite TV shows that I watched throughout this year because there was so much incredible TV in 2019. This year, it was really hard to even come up with this list of the best TV shows I saw this year because, like I said, this year was just incredible for TV. These are going to be in no particular order, by the way. I'm just going to be telling you some of my favorite stuff that I saw this year. So the first show that I wanted to talk about is Dead to Me, and this one was on Netflix. This one came out pretty early on in the year. I want to say around like early May. This show is incredible. It's this thriller kind of show that follows these two women who are in their 40s. We follow Christina Applegate, she's like the main character in this show, and we find out that her husband just recently died. And so she goes to this support group where she meets this other girl that's like the other main character of the show, and they become very fast friends. The thing that makes this show a thriller, I can't really say what it is because it's gonna spoil it for you, but this show was so freaking good. It was so entertaining and so thrilling, and it was such a great mystery too. Like, it really just unravels, and I can't wait to see a second season of this. Like, I'm really hoping it gets a second season. Another one of my favorite shows from this year was Stranger Things 3. Oh my god, Stranger Things is always freaking amazing, okay? It's always gonna be good, but I especially loved this season. I feel like for me, season 2 is probably still my favorite season of Stranger Things, but I feel like season 3 was so much fun because I loved the fact that it took place around 4th of July, so like the summer vibes were very like awesome in this one. I just really love Eleven's character so much. Like, she's just one of my favorite characters to watch because I love the whole like trope of kind of like a fish out of water. Like, I love like when an alien-like character is trying to like understand humans, and I just feel like Eleven's character is like the perfect example of that. Love how like sassy she is with her friends and how she doesn't really know like the proper way to communicate her feelings. Like, I just love her and adore her so much. And this season was just everything. Oh my god, like Hopper and Elle's relationship is just the cutest. And I love Steve's character in this season, and I love the introduction of Robin's character. Like, she's a new favorite. I absolutely love her. She's kick-ass. The next show I wanted to talk about is this limited series show called Unbelievable. That's on Netflix. Netflix is killing the game this year, dude. All three of these shows that I mentioned so far are all on Netflix. This show does have some very intense trigger warnings though for graphic scenes of rape, like point of view shots of rape, and it's really hard to watch. But I think what makes the show so incredible is the fact that it's a true story. It follows this girl, like the main character in the very beginning of the show gets raped by this guy who just breaks into her house. She goes to tell the police, and the police just don't believe her. Like, and they almost like make her feel like it's her fault, or like they just try to twist her story back on her, and it's just awful to watch. And especially like knowing this was a true story, it's just very hard to stomach a lot of this show. God, this show is so good, and it's so important for people to see this. Just the social commentary on rape victims and how they're handled with police is just, oh my god, it's just so important to bring this shit to light, you know? And the two female detectives on this show, like Toni Collette plays one of the detectives who's one of my favorites. They're just so good. Like, I loved both of their characters so much. This show is so good, and I feel like it needs more love. Like, I know it definitely got recognized at the Golden Globes, which is awesome, but I feel like just in general, like, the show needs more love online. It's just so good. Right, the next show I want to talk about is The Morning Show, which is the first show that I've been watching from Apple TV. I mainly wanted to watch this one because I absolutely love and adore Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. They're like two of my favorites, and the fact that they're both on this show is just amazing. It's like a Friends reunion. And I also really love Steve Carell as an actor, so that's just another bonus to the show. The show has an amazing cast. This show is mainly about this morning news show that takes place in New York, and it's kind of about like the lives behind the people on this show. And in the very first episode, Steve Carell's character gets accused of sexual assault, and he gets fired from the morning show. And so it's kind of about how like Jennifer Aniston was like the lead news anchor person with him, so she kind of has to like deal with like the fallout from that. The whole show is kind of revolving around this incident that happened, and god, this show is so good. And I feel like this is another one of those shows that really shines a light on like the Me Too movement and the way we handle like rape culture and how men are abusing their power to take advantage of women. God, the show is incredible, and I feel like Jennifer Aniston was like born to play this role. Like, she is so good in this show. And of course, Reese is great, like, as usual. Like, Reese is always really great to watch, but Jennifer Aniston is so freaking good. Like, she's such a badass bitch in this show, and I just really love it. I love watching every minute of this show. Alright, the next show I wanted to talk about is Big Little Lies Season 2. Again, Reese is freaking phenomenal, and I just love this show so much. Big Little Lies Season 1 was one of my favorite things that I've ever seen with my eyeballs, and so of course Season 2 I had pretty high expectations for. Oh my god, Season 2 was so freaking good! Loved the addition of Meryl Streep's character, and god, she's just one of those people who is like a friendly, rude person. You know, like the way that she words things, it sounds like she's giving you a compliment, but she's really insulting you, really just piss you off and like really get under your skin. But Meryl Streep just plays her so well. And this whole season, like, my heart was just broken for Celeste, like all of the shit that she goes through in this season. Oh my gosh. But wow, like what a badass bitch Celeste is. Like, oh my god, one of my favorite characters that I've ever watched. Like, Nicole Kidman is just amazing. Like, she's so good in this show. Another show that I wanted to talk about is Euphoria, and this one's on HBO. Big Little Lies is also on HBO, so HBO is also killing the game this year. This show is pretty crazy because I think it's intended for young adults. I mean, maybe it's not intended for young adults, but it follows a bunch of kids that are in high school still. But this show has some very graphic, vulgar things. Like, this show has some of the most nudity that I've ever seen in a show ever, and it also has a lot of partying scenes, drug abuse scenes, even like rape scenes, like stuff that's like really hard to watch. So I would just know that going in that this has a lot of very graphic content in the show. Zendaya is the best that I've ever seen her in this show because she plays this girl who has a drug addiction. Just watching her is like heartbreaking in this show. Like, she is so good at this role. Like, she's incredible, and I really love the character Jules and like the friendship that forms between these two characters. And I love the way that this show is written. Like, I love how the intro to every episode is kind of like introducing you into why the characters are the way they are. Like, each episode will spotlight on a different character, and I love that Zendaya is still the one that's like narrating their life story. Like, it's just so interesting. Every time I watched the show though, I felt like really freaking sad and depressed after I finished every single episode, but it also just had such an impact on me. Like, I just really loved it. I just loved it so much. And I just think that this is one of the best shows from this year, and I just really hope it doesn't go under the radar because I really thought Zendaya should have deserved a Golden Globe nomination for this, but you know, whatever. Another one of my favorite shows that I watched this year, but I can't remember if this one actually came out this year or not, is American Crime Story, the second season with Versace. I haven't seen the first season of American Crime Story yet, but this one got a lot of hype at the Golden Globes last year, so I ended up watching this show this year. God, this second season with Versace was so freaking good. This is a true story. It's an American true crime story about the assassination of Gianni Versace. It's about, like, Darren Criss plays the killer who walked up on his steps in front of his house in Malibu and just shot him in the head. This show was also, like, incredibly hard to watch. Like, honestly, some of it I couldn't really stomach. Like, I had to kind of, like, look away because I was like, oh my god, like, it was just too much at some parts for me. But this story is just really incredible, and it's sad. Like, it's so sad, the fact that this is a true story. And I just really love, though, the storytelling style of this show, and I really need to see the first season with O.J. Simpson. This second season was so good, and the end of it just like gave me chills. Like, it was so good, and Darren Criss is definitely like award-winning performance in this show. Like, he's incredible. Another one of my favorite shows from this year that's not really a show, it's more of like a documentary style thing, is the Ted Bundy Tapes that Netflix came out with around the beginning of this year. I personally didn't know anything about Ted Bundy before I had watched the show. Like, I just never heard of him. And this show kind of got me into like true crime a little bit. Like, the whole story of it is just so fascinating, but also so disturbing. And I don't know, I was just really invested in this because I guess since I hadn't actually known his story at all, like, I was really invested in this documentary. Like, I had to know what happened next. Like, and it it was awful to hear about all the things that he did. Like, it honestly just like made my stomach like turn. But also this documentary was just really well done. Like, it was so fascinating and so informative. I don't know, it kind of like turned me on to reading more true crime and like watching more true crime things. And then the last kind of show that I wanted to talk about that's kind of a reality show is Queer Eye! Queer Eye season 4 and Queer Eye Japan, but also just all of Queer Eye because I actually just started watching Queer Eye this year. And it's just the best thing in the freaking world. And I absolutely adore all 5 of the guys that are on Queer Eye. If you didn't know, it's this like reality show. And I think it's super fun because I've always been a fan of like watching makeover shows. But I especially love it because it's not only like a wardrobe makeover or a makeup and hair remakeover, but it's also their house. Everything in their life gets remade, makeover, and it's so much fun. And I feel like my personal favorites to watch on this show are definitely Tan, Jonathan, and Anthony. I just really adore Anthony. He's bae. But yeah, I just love this show so much. It makes me so happy, and then it makes me cry almost every episode, and it just makes me so emotional, and it's beautiful. I kind of wish Jonathan was my best friend. They just seem like they're so much fun to be around. Those are all of my favorite shows that I watched in 2019. Let me know, what were some of your favorite TV shows of 2019? I know I have a long list of shows that I still need to get to that I haven't seen yet, but these are all of my favorites from the ones that I have seen. Let me know, what are your thoughts on some of these shows? Like, are these also some of your favorite shows from 2019? Based off of these shows, do you have any recommendations for me that I might have missed in 2019 that you think I would really enjoy? Please let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye.